Hi, welcome back to Kids Club. I'm Miss Chris. I have a question for you. Have you ever had somebody treat you unkindly? Been mean? Maybe hit you? Cut you off in traffic, parents? Things that make us feel very angry. Now, here's a question. If you had the opportunity, what would you do? Would you punch them back? Would you cut them off at the next turn? What do we do with the choices we have? Do we have the self-control we should? Today, we're going to be learning about self-control. I hope you enjoy today's lesson.
Hello everyone, my name is Jacob, here today to talk to you about self-control. Self-control is choosing to do what you should, even when you don't want to. It's very important to have control. I have a controller for just about everything, in fact. Like this stereo. Thanks, stereo. Or this fan. I've even got a remote for my blender. And of course, everyone's favorite remote control, the TV remote. Whoa, where is the TV remote? This is its spot. This is its home. It's where it lives. Where are you, little TV remote? TV remote! TV, 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 TV. No, little guy, where are you? TV! This makes me so mad. I bought the remote caddy so that I could house my remotes. And when someone takes the remotes away and doesn't put it back, I get real angry. I ask you, why have a remote caddy if you're not gonna caddy the remote?
What's going on? Oh, I think I'm paused. Okay, maybe this is for the best. I was really losing my temper there. Okay, I feel better. You can unpause me now.
That was a close one. Anger can really take over if you let it. In today's story, we'll hear about a guy named David who had every reason to be angry. Let's hope it doesn't control him. Oh, I wonder what this controls. I don't even own a car.
Now, for an amazing story. Inspired by the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 24.
David had been chosen by God as Israel's next king, but for a while, Saul was still king. David served King Saul and won many battles for him. The people loved David.
Hey David, you're so fine, you blow our money, David! Hey David!
Saul, however, was deeply jealous of David. In fact, he even tried to kill him. David escaped into the wilderness, where around 400 men came to join him. People who were in trouble or owed money.
A merry band of misfits.
But Saul still saw David as a threat. When he heard that David and his men were camped in the desert of Maon, Saul took soldiers to chase after.
They're right behind us, David.
Quick, we'll head around the mountain.
Just as Saul and his men were closing in on David, Saul received word that the Philistines were attacking Israel.
Oh, phooey.
Saul was forced to stop the chase and deal with the Philistines. David and his men could breathe a sigh of relief.
There's a safe place near En-Gedi. Maybe Saul will finally leave us alone if we hide out there.
But as soon as Saul had dealt with the Philistines, a messenger brought news.
David is in the desert of En-Gedi. Aha! We've got him this time. Gather 3,000 of the best soldiers from all of Israel.
But, Your Majesty, David only has 400 men.
3,000, and not one less.
Saul set out once more, determined to wipe out his rival.
Bet that pipsqueak is hiding out near the rocky cliffs of the Wild Goats.
Well, that seems oddly specific.
Yeah, he used to herd sheep.
In fact, David and his men have been staying near some sheep pens not far from the cliffs.
Saul, headed this way. He's got 3,000 soldiers.
Again? Why can't he leave us alone?
We can take him on. I'm worth 10 of his soldiers.
David could feel his anger boiling, but he took a deep breath.
No, we won't fight them now.
And we won't have a choice in about 6 minutes.
The caves! I want everyone inside! Stat!
David and his men hurried into a nearby cave that cut deep inside the cliffs.
All the way to the back!
They're here!
Outside, near the sheep pens, Saul had called a halt.
Take a break, men.
At that moment, Saul found himself in need of a royal outhouse.
I require a royal outhouse.
I believe there's a cave over there, Your Majesty.
I suppose it'll do.
Saul entered the cave. Far back in the cave, David and his men froze. Through the gloom, David could see the man who had tried to kill him and was now forcing him to live on the run.
What if he finds us?
I don't believe we're Saul's #1 priority at the moment.
He's alone. This is your chance.
God's handed your enemy over.
Don't let this chance just trickle away.
David's anger burned red hot as he crept up behind Saul, sword at the ready. But then, he forced himself to stop. Instead of attacking Saul, David sliced off a corner off the king's long royal robe. Saul left the cave with no idea that David was still inside.
Time to move out, men. This is the day we take out that whippersnapper David.
But at that moment, David emerged from the cave and cried out,
King Saul!
David?
David bowed low to the ground.
Why do you listen when men say David is trying to harm you? This day you have seen with your own eyes how the Lord handed you over to me in the cave. Some of my men begged me to kill you, but I didn't. I said, he is the Lord's anointed king.
Saul could only stare in shock as David held the piece of fabric he cut from Saul's robe.
Look at this! I cut off the corner of your robe, but I did not kill you. Yet you are hunting me down to kill me. May the Lord show that I'm not guilty of doing anything wrong. May he save me from you.
The truth cut Saul to the heart and began to weep.
Oh, you are a better person than I am. You have treated me well, but I've treated you badly. May the Lord reward you. I know for sure that you will be king. Now, promise me that you won't kill my family or wipe out my name from my family line.
David looked his enemy straight in the eye.
I promise.
Then Saul and his men returned home, and David and his band of misfits returned to their usual hiding place.
David was angry at King Saul, and he probably should have been. King Saul was trying to kill David. But even in his anger, David didn't lose control. He paused and thought and didn't let his anger take over. You don't need a remote control for yourself to know how to pause. You can do that on your own. If you're angry because someone borrowed something they weren't supposed to, or someone said something that really hurt your feelings, you could just fly off the handle. Or you can pause, count to 3 or 10 or 100 if you have to, and think about how you're going to respond. Remember, you can pause in real life, but what you can't do is rewind. Once you've said or done something in anger, it's out there. You can never take it back. I'm not saying you shouldn't ever get angry. In fact, Jesus himself got angry, but he had good reasons to get angry. And so do we sometimes. It's like when you or someone you know is being treated unfairly. That's a good reason to get angry. Losing a remote? Probably not the best reason to get angry, but good anger or bad, it's still wise to keep control of your anger instead of letting it control you. That's the one thing to remember today. Don't be controlled by your anger. Count to 10 and keep your cool. Music!
Okay. Music! Oh, that's the...
I gotta get a universal remote. I'll see you next time.